Hi, I'm Andy from Target Transfers, the UK's leading heat transfer manufacturer. And I know that some of you are used to learning about the best ways to decorate heat transfers here on our live events. But did you know that we're also the UK's leading heat transfer vinyl supplier? And that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. If you've never used heat transfer vinyl before, don't worry. So I'm going to show you everything you need to know to get started with transfer vinyl. For those of you who are completely new to it, heat transfer vinyl comes on this raw roll material that can be cut into a machine, and then you can create designs like this one. Commonly, when you first start out, you might be starting out with a small craft cutter. Something like a silhouette is often a very common one to use. And then an example of that would be something like a Cameo 4 or a Cameo 4 Pro if you want to go for the extra wide one. And then once you start to get into it and do lots and lots and lots, and speed becomes a bit of an issue and you want to go even faster, then you look at something like a Graphtec machine. And that will allow you to even more volume with and get even more vinyl transfers cut. So heat transfer vinyl is always going to be one color. You can layer some heat transfer vinyl, but generally speaking, it's going to be block color. So if you're doing full color stuff, still stick to heat transfers, but today I'm going to be talking about heat transfer vinyl and doing some block color designs. And it's going to be using one of our very popular materials and something that a lot of you are asking questions about. It's high build 3D vinyl. So this is vinyl that's extra chunky, extra thick, extra premium, and lots of you got questions about how to get the best results from fusing. So that's what we're going to cover today. So I'm here in the Heat Printing Innovation Center. You might recognize that we've got a new backdrop today. So I'm actually in the Stahls Heat Transfer Vinyl wall corner of the room in the Innovation Center here in Braintree. And Stahls, who've never heard of Stahls before, never used their vinyl before, they're actually celebrating their 90th anniversary this year. So they were founded in 1932. So we like to wish everyone in our sister company a very happy anniversary on that. And then that's why I'm going to show you how today why they are the best of the best for heat transfer vinyl. And I'm going to show you how to do it with 3D vinyl as well. So today I'm going to be showing you three things. I'm going to show you how to fuse onto a t-shirt. I'm going to show you how to fuse onto a jumper, and I'm going to show you how to fuse onto a hat. So three really great solutions, three very different recipes for heat transfer vinyl. I'm going to show you how to cover absolutely all of these. The reason why we're going to be talking about high build 3D today is because we've had lots of questions, like I say. This is also one of the most increasingly popular vinyls on the market. The reason for that is because of that extra chunky finish. So I'm just going to come up close here. Then if you can see that, that is 10 times thicker than the average heat transfer vinyl, 10 times thicker than the average heat transfer. So it's a really chunky premium finish. And the reason that this is becoming popular is, one, customers want this product. So you probably had lots of people asking you, can you do something with a raised effect? I want something with a really nice matte finish, something that when they touch it, it's very tactile, and they can get really premium feeling product from it. And the great thing about it is that when a customer now looks at this stuff, because they're used to seeing on some really expensive garments, this is something that's accessible for everyone, but the value of these products, so something like this is something I've fused earlier. All I've done is a very simple left chest print, and I've also gone for a print on the arm. So this is something that's very popular. I'm sure a lot of you recognize this on big jackets and hoodies. Very simple prints, very simple design, but the perceived value of a product like this is perhaps 10, 20, even 30 or 40 pounds more expensive than a traditional garment. But they're not doing anything different. They're just making the customer perceive its value to be different. A lot of the time they're using a Bella canvas top like this one with some of our high build vinyl, and they're achieving some fantastic results. And their profit margins because of this are way, way higher than with a traditional vinyl product. So I'm going to show you exactly how you can get started with that today. So if you've got any questions about this as we go along, please do leave a comment. I'll be happy to answer absolutely any of them. So just stop me and interrupt me. It's no problem. So to get started, I'm going to show you how to fuse on a t-shirt, and I'm going to show you how to do it with the black high build 3D vinyl. All of this is available on targettransfers.com if you need to get hold of any of it. So I'm just going to use a traditional white t-shirt here. Very nice and simple. As always with any heat transfer product, make sure you give it a pre-press. Instructions are going to be very important because we know that some people have had some problems using high build vinyl, and that's because they're not following the recipe, or they're not making sure their heat press is at the right settings. If you get the settings right, it's going to be very easy for you. So let me just slide that on. I'm just going to be using a Hotronix auto open machine today. If you follow the same instructions, you can do it on anything though. I'm going to give it a quick 5-second pre-press. Got a nice flat clean surface. Then I'm going to get some vinyl. So as I mentioned before, this is done on a vinyl cutting machine. So I'm just going to show you, catch the light there. That is, it's etching the design onto the back of it. And then it creates lines. So when you pull away excess vinyl, like that, you're left with your design. So really, really nice and easy. So I'm going to use, on that white t-shirt, obviously, I'm not going to use white, I'm going to use black. So first step, get your handy weeding tool. I'm going to use an LED weeder here. There's a little light on it, so it means I can see everything I need to see on the back here now. Really great piece of kit. So peel away the excess, like that. Then you can weed out all the extra little bits and pieces that you don't want from your design. Really nice and easy. And just one more in the middle there. And that's what you're left with once you pulled away the excess. So you can see that. That's all it is. Once you've cut it on your machine, which doesn't take very long, get a pre-pressed garment. I'm going to pop it under here. So this is a very important thing to remember. This is going to be going down 155 degrees. So this is a little bit warmer than our Ultra Color Max. So you need to make sure it's 155. You need to make sure heat press is accurate because it's really important for high build. Because it's that much thicker. If you don't follow these instructions, or you're using a press where it's not accurate, make sure you're getting a heat gun and checking that press to make sure it is spot on, because you won't get the right results. It's cold peel vinyl, so make sure you put paper over the top of it, because what we don't want to do is have, when that heat press comes back up, we don't want it to be bringing the vinyl back up with it. It's really important to get a very cold peel, and not just like, oh, it's more or less there. I mean cold peel. So we're going to bring it down 20 seconds at medium pressure. So I've got it on a 5, which is perfect. Between 4 and a 6 on a pressure readout is perfect for medium. So I'm going to do it on a 5. Because it's got that extra dwell time under the press, so it's probably an extra 8 seconds, which is quite considerable when you remember a lot of stuff is between 10 and 12. That's why you really, really have to make sure you let it cool down. So I'll pop that to the side. What I would do if I was doing lots of these, I'd just peel them all later. So put them all to the side, press the next one, make a nice big pile. So don't worry about letting them all go cold and then peel and then do the next one. Just leave them to the side. Doesn't matter if once it's a cold peel, cold is cold. So if it's in a couple of minutes time, it really doesn't matter. To speed up things a little bit, I'm going to just lay this down on this cold table. And while we do that, I'm just going to explain a little bit more about how you can get better profit margins for something like high build. Because as I mentioned before, there's a high perceived barrier to this product. So let me get one of the finished items. So just to remind you, something like this, you could be looking at sort of a 45, 50 pound retail if you're kind of doing it as a brand in the shop and the high street, online obviously, 40 to 50 pounds, if not more. It's just got a Bella canvas top under there, so you kind of probably 10 pounds tops, and then just a bit of vinyl on there, and that way you can make a big profit margin. Even if you're just doing a slightly elevated product to one of your existing customers, you could be looking at adding an extra 5, 10 pound there. So even if you're normally selling these at maybe 15 or 20 pounds, you could perhaps add an extra 5, 10 pounds in. The reason you're going to get better profit margins is because you're charging that extra, but roll of material. So this comes in either a meter length or a 5 meter length, depending on your order. And the price per meter is from £10.35. So to give you an idea, this is just shy of a meter. We've already cut some of the transfers off. It's probably around about there. But I've managed to get between 90 and 100 logos cut into this. That's all at the same size. So that's at the Same size as the logo here. I'm just about to peel for you in a minute. So letting it go a little bit colder. 90 to 100 of these from a £10.35 piece of vinyl. So that means that if it's 50 centimeters wide, 100 centimeters long, you can get 90 logos from it. And that's going to give you material costs of 12p per logo. So that's really not expensive. If you, in the scheme of things, it's really not going to be an extra cost to you to use a more premium material, but you could be looking at perhaps an extra £5–10 per item just by using a slightly different vinyl. So it's really something that's worth considering because of the way it looks at the end. So let this go cold. Like I mentioned, this is ice cold. Let this go completely cold. No warm peel on this one. Because it's extra thick, it's going to be more difficult to come off at the end. So I'm just going to bring this over now so you can get a nice close-up of that. So you can see straight away that's come up. Because I've let it go cold enough, that's peeled really easily. If I'd done that while it was warm, it'd still be tugging and it'd still want to stay there on the transfer. So I'm just going to give you a real close-up on that so you can see that I've fused that perfectly. I'll give you a little side profile as well. You can see it's not lifting up at all. So you can see right there, that is fused on there perfectly. That customer waits 24 to 48 hours before washing that. That's never going to come off. This is all, again, as you'd expect from Target transfers and Stahls, this is commercial grade product. So this lasts wash after wash. And it just looks fantastic on t-shirts because it's got that raised effect. Even just the black, it just looks so bold and it looks very eye-catching to the customer that when they look at that, they're like, it has a real wow effect. Like I mentioned, the material cost, that's just 12p. So really, really profitable product on that one. And actually, as you've seen, just fused it. It's not difficult. If you follow the instructions to the letter, follow the recipe correctly, that will stay on wash after wash, really nice and easy. So I wanted to show you one more example with this. I'm going to show you how to do it with a jumper.
Before we do that, Andy, we have a question.
Yep.
Shall I throw it up on the screen for you?
Yeah, please.
So Beth wants to know where you'd recommend applying high build vinyl and what types of garments and placements you'd recommend.
So with high build vinyl, to be honest, you can apply it on anything. If the material can take heat, then you can fuse it. So I've just done it on a t-shirt. I'm going to show you later how to do it on a hat. We've seen some really great results put it onto bags. So again, premium bags, premium coats. I'm going to show you now how to do a hoodie, because then there's another opportunity for placement, because again, the perceived value of a hoodie with that product on is even higher than it is with the t-shirt. And it will look and feel better on a hoodie. On a t-shirt, you're kind of at the borderline of how good does that feel to the end user. I mean, if it's a nice small logo, it's fine, but you wouldn't want to do larger prints of that on there. So I'm just going to grab a Bella Canvas. I was using a Fruit of the Loom t-shirt before. Now I'm just going to use a Bella Canvas hoodie. I probably should use a smaller pattern, but I haven't got one close to me today. Again, I'm going to give it a pre-press. Make sure I've got my release paper on there. Give that 5 seconds. It's still at medium pressure. It's gone up to a 6 because it's obviously the hoodie is slightly thicker. One of the great things about the auto open press is that it has that pressure readout, so it always tells me exactly what I'm doing and make sure I'm following the recipe that way. Just going to show you how to peel these once more. So I get my handy LED weeder, and I'm going to pull away the excess. I'm going to use a circular logo this time. So really nice and easy. Just pull that, pick that away. Because of the LED weeder, especially with your dark vinyls, I don't know if this will show up on camera or not, but you can see it casts a light over the design. So that way, if you've got some really difficult to see designs, help you really easy pick them up, put that vinyl away, then go with your end result. So again, just pop it on the hoodie. I'll just go for a central placement here. Because I'm using the Hotronix Auto Open, there's that lifetime warranty and heating element, and it's built to have no cold spots. I can put this design anywhere on this press, it doesn't matter at all. Pop some release paper down. I'm just going to loosen up the pressure a little bit to make sure I don't overcook it. Again, it's going to still be 20 seconds, always 20 seconds, because that is where the adhesive on the back is designed to melt. Pull this down for 20 seconds. As well as that accurate heat, I've also got the over center adjustment here from the auto open heat press. So that means when it comes down, it's going to come down evenly throughout this. So it means that even where I've got it on the very edge, where most presses would struggle here, it's not going to be an issue in auto. That's because it's a Hoptronics machine that's built to last. Again, okay, so I'll leave that to the side now. Again, we're going to let this one go cold. Very important to do so with this, because this one's actually really close, really hot to the touch. I'm just going to put it down to the side, let it cool down for a minute, and then I just want to talk to you a little about the auto heat press while we wait for that to go cold. So something that's worth noting is that today we are in the last day of a promotion. So if you are thinking about getting an auto heat press, they're coming with £100 of transfer credit today. So if you've been thinking about it, today's the day to get it. Just go onto the website and you'll be able to see the code to get that £100 transfer credit added at the cart. That's a really great way to save some money on your next transfer order. I'm also using the cart today. So this is something that makes everything threadable. So this is something, you see how easy it was for me to pop that on there? That is because by having the cart here, and I've got that quick slip, I can glide it on and off very nice and easy. So this one's actually almost cold enough now because we've got that nice cold table. Just going to bring it in close to you. Don't know if we can, you can see that, so you can see there's no smoke and mirrors here. Just going to pull that straight off. Done. And again, you can see just like that. Nice placement. It's gone on really well. Put my hand up there so you can see just the detail on that one. Just like that, you created a really premium finished product. So that way you could quite easily expect that to be retailing at £55. And so imagine how much you paid for the materials of that. It's really quite a profitable way of doing things. So 12p for the actual transfer part, with 10 to 15 at most for a high premium hoodie like a Bella Canvas one. That's it, you're done, job done. So very highly recommend that. If you would like to see this in person, if you're watching along today and you're like, I'd really love to see that in person, we do have an event on October 19th when I'm going to be doing some masterclasses amongst other things at Bella Canvas, coming here to do a launch event. So you can see this hoodie with a transfer on and see just how easy it is to do. And if you've got questions about High Build and you want to see this in person, come along to that event and I'll give you a quick 5-minute masterclass, show you again just how easy it is to do that. You can see it in person if you prefer to do it that way. So just to recap, t-shirt, hoodie, no problem. Really, really nice and easy. Low cost of materials, you're looking at 12p because it's from 10.35 per meter. This is all in stock and available on targettransfers.com. There is normally 6 colors available, but as part of today's event, I'm also really pleased to let everyone know that's watching to get a sneak peek and a first access to a brand new gold and silver high build colors. So if you use normally white, black, red, blue, green are kind of the main colors, but we also have this fantastic new gold product. I'm just showing that on this bucket hat here. And we have a nice silver dot. So these are actually, the gold and silver have actually gone for a slight glossy finish on them. So that means that they really shine and catch under light. Where they're black and white, you want that matte finish. But for golds and silver, you want a bit more shine to it. So that's why we recommend going with the slightly glossier product. And these are now available in stock. So if you're watching live, you'll be the first to get access to them, first and play with them, first off them to your customers. So that's a little event exclusive for you.
Can I throw another question up, Andy, before we go? So Richard wants to know, he says he really likes the look of these 3D logos. Do you sell the logos or just the vinyl? If so, what's the cost of the printer and any other costs involved? He has a heat press at the moment, but they're buying logos in and pressing them ourselves.
Okay, so we don't actually cut the vinyls for you. You do need to buy the rolls for yourself, so you will need to get a cutting machine. For something like High Build, and if you're starting to do things on volume, my personal recommendation is, and the product cutter we use for these is the Graphtec CE7000. This is something that is available online on targettransfers.com if you're looking for one. And the one I'd recommend, I would probably go for the one on the stand if you can, but you're looking around about £1,600 plus VAT. and that will give you one that's wide enough to fit the high build vinyl on, and it'll cover pretty much all eventualities you'd ever need with vinyl. It's got a versus something like a smaller craft machine. It's worth investing if you're really considering high build. It's worth investing in a slightly more expensive machine because it's going to have a slightly better motor, which is really important when you're cutting thick, chunky vinyl. Because sometimes it's difficult to go around corners on lettering and have those nice angles like that we have here, because you've got a smaller blade and it's a slower motor, so it's difficult to get those turns in. So I would say about £1,600. But if you bear in mind that you've just added on sort of £5 to £10 in perceived value by using high build, the amount of t-shirts you'd actually need to sell or hoodies you need to sell with that product on, you probably find quite a quick payback on that. So you're probably looking at sort of 200 hoodies, maybe even over now, like 150 hoodies before you've actually paid off the machine, just by using a more premium product, higher perceived value, and getting that better profit margin. So if you have questions about that, just leave us a message, get in touch. The machines are all available to have a little look around at.
There's a link in the comments as well to the Graphtec if anybody is interested.
Link in the comments. So if you're watching live, Richard, just click on that link after the event, have a little bit of a look at it, and then come back for any questions you've got. But it's really, really easy to use. The software is fantastic because it's just put your design up, pick your settings, send it to cut. And if anyone who's watching wants cut settings, they're all available on the High Build product page. So go on there, find the one that matches your machine. Like I say, I recommend the Graphtec because we've had some fantastic results with this product. There are plenty of other options available for you. So I just want to give you a quick look. You've seen the gold. We also have the silver. So that's in stock now. These are all at the same price of £10.35 per metre. But one of the things I promised to show you earlier, just before I go move on, actually something that's worth bearing in mind as well. So when I redid that vinyl earlier, I was left with this little inner bit. But what you can do, this has still got the adhesive on the back here. So if you wanted to, you could add another press with this on here. It's exactly what I did over here. So it's one I fused earlier, but I fused it like that. Then I took the inside, so no extra cost here. I fused it on the arm as well. So you can see that looks really good just like that as well. So it's a great way of saving or adding another placement to your product without actually having to increase your material cost. So always keep those little bits on the inside so they can look really good as well. One of the things I wanted to show you today is just how versatile High Build is. And with those premium products you've already created, t-shirts and hoodies, another one you might want to consider is doing hats. So hats look really fantastic with High Build on. Let me just grab my other hat that I've got on the table. So this is one I fused earlier. So you can see what I'm about to show you here. I fused this before we went on air. I'm just going to quickly peel this off now. But putting really chunky vinyl on hats looks phenomenal. And this is something that's really popular with a lot of our customers are making some really good business from selling High Build onto hats because, as I mentioned before, 12p material cost. Average cost of hats. This is a Beachfield snapback 6-panel. So I've gone over the seams as well on this. I'll show you how to do this live in a minute. But you're kind of looking at sort of £3 per hat, 12p per transfer. And this hat could sell at retail. You could be looking at sort of £35 for this hat. So at least sort of £20 in a worst case scenario profit per hat. Or if you're selling it on to just a corporate customer, you could still sell this for £20 and still make close to £15 margin on every single hat. So you don't need to sell 100 of these to pay off your hat press. And an average order value of customers that are already doing this is well over 100. So one job pays for this press because it's £1,540. So I'm going to show you how to do a couple of placements. So I've already redid the vinyl on this one. I've already shown you how to do it once. I'm just going to use the white High Build this time in a matte finish. All you need to do, steps on this. First of all, take the cardboard out. You don't want to put that anywhere near heat. Then importantly, you're going to need a 360 IQ hat press. So obviously, I mentioned earlier, Hottronics are the most accurate presses. if you follow the instructions for high build, you can put it on, use your existing press as long as your press is at temperature, can measure pressure. But this is something we brought out last year, and this has been a real game changer for a lot of hat printers. We've done something really novel here, is that we've added a lower heated platen. So the problem a lot of you are having who are already hat printing was you're finding that you're having the dreaded press box on here when you're using a more traditional hat press to do really thick products. Because you're having to press and at so much pressure for so long, it was putting a little burn on there. And we know you don't want that. So we invented the 360 IQ hat press, which has low heat. So all of the fusing is done on the inside. So even on the worst case scenario, there's a little mark. It's going to be inside and no one's ever going to see that. So that means you can do some really chunky things. So like woven patches, embroidered patches, rubber patches. Head to badges.targettransfers.com if you want to know more about badges, because we're not going to cover that today. I'm just going to cover high build and how to get perfect placement on this. So all you need to do, set up your high build instructions on there. So we're going to go for 140 on the top, 160 on the bottom for high build. Everything will vary from hat to hat, from product to product, but if you need help, just leave us a message and we'll tell you exactly how to do it. I'm going to pull this part of the hat out. I'm going to pop it on here, just like that. Make sure that's pulled out of the way. Then you've got a handle here. That's going to pull it tight. So nice and tight. That way, because with this silicone pad on here, this is going to help mold the shape to the shape of the hat. So previously you might be used to having a hat press with lots of different platens. Now you don't need to worry about that. It's going to mold the shape of the hat. So let me just make sure it's on there again. Nice and tight. Bring your press down before you fuse. So you can see here, I can tell that I need to make this come forward a little bit. I'm going to crush the peak of the hat. A little bit forward still. There we go. Then I'm going to get my high build logo that I've cut out already. I'm going to place it on here. But one thing I would always recommend doing is putting a little heat tape on now. Because it's harder to place your tops on here, just by using heat tape, you're going to make sure you get it in the right place. Heat tape's like £6 a roll, so it's really, really easy to do. Put a little bit of tape on your logo. Then you can line it up and make sure you're getting perfect center placement. Make sure that's on there nice and tight. Make sure that it's covered by the platen, which it is. If you never used a 360 press before, get 3 foam pads as standard. Use the thinnest one here. You only need to use the really thick ones if your logo or your patch is thicker than this, but most products in the UK don't tend to be. You're going to place that over there. It's important to know, because I've had that hat on here for 10-20 seconds now, so it's pre-pressing while I'm getting ready, so I don't need to worry about pre-press on this one. It's already heated up. I'm just going to pull this down, 45 seconds, medium pressure here, and that's all you're going to need to do. Nice and easy. Again, you've got this over-center pressure from electronics. You've got the heating element accurate to the degree, so you don't need to worry about error because you've got a machine that can do everything for you. And this is how you can infuse that extra chunky stuff. So, like this hat I've already done earlier. Really nice and chunky. So what I would recommend doing if you're starting to do volume of hats is actually get a couple of these, because you can get a few of them going at the same time and you can get to some serious volume. Much like the t-shirts and the hoodie that I did earlier, always put your hat to the side when you're ready for it to cool down, because this has had 45 seconds on here. So this actually needs to wait and go. This is really hot now, so that's had twice as long as the other product. So we're just going to put that to the side. Let that cool down. So while that one's cooling down, I'm going to fuse the next one. So again, I'm going to use like a trucker style hat this time. Pull the cardboard out. Again, Beachfield hat here. They do some really great products. They're actually going to be at that event on October 19th as well. So if you're interested in infusing onto hats and bags, it's a really great opportunity to come and meet them and see what they're up to as well. And again, if you've got questions about anything that I cover here or how to fuse onto hats and bags, just come along and I'm happy to do a quick tutorial for you. It doesn't take long to learn that one. So again, make sure you pull everything out of the way, pull it nice and tight. Got a nice smooth surface on here. This time I'm going to use the gold. So nice gold, the new gold high build. So let's check it's going to come down in the right place. Just need to bring that forward a tiny bit. There we go, perfect. Be careful not to go too near the bottom. For one, it doesn't look good for placement, but there is a bit of a cross section of the seams here, so it's much harder to fuse at the very bottom. So make sure you get a nice middle placement, just like I've done here. Pop it on. Again, use that heat tape just to be sure. So this is all available on targettransfers.com. So give you the close up there. Got your high build logo. Make sure it's, we reckon around about sort of like maximum sort of 6 by 6 centimeters here. So get that right in the middle there. You can feel it's nicely centered in the press. Bring that down again, 45 seconds, and it'll be done. This is actually still warm. So this is when I say put them to the side. So this has been, I've been talking to you about 30 seconds to a minute at least. Normally heat transfer would have cooled down by now, but I can feel this is still warm. And if I peel this too soon, it's going to come off. Because it's the extra thick, it's harder to pull the carrier away. So that's what's really important. You don't rush everything and you just follow the instructions every time. Leave it to the side and wait for the next one. Do the next one while you're waiting for that. So have we got any more questions while we're waiting for those, the next hat to fuse? No, not at the moment. Okay, perfect. So this is almost done. Again, I'm going to have to let this one peel cold, but that's just because it's part of the process. So let that one peel cold. Just gently release it from there. And again, that is really, really hot. So it's very, very important to let that one go cold. But like I say, if you would like to get hands-on with this press in person, then I will be having this press featured at the October 19th event, which is available to get your tickets now, but they are going very fast. So if you're looking to have something that's going to really set you up for 2023, then this event is going to be a really big one. It's an afternoon and an evening session. Tickets are free, but they're going very quickly. So if you want to attend here in the Innovation Centre, you want to see all this fantastic vinyl, you want to see the best heat transfers, you want to see the new garment colours that are going to be big for next year. This is the first opportunity for anyone in the UK to see the big garment colours for next year. You have to attend this event because you won't be able to see them again until probably February, something like that. So really worth attending. And there's a link for your ticket in the description. So we really made it nice and easy for you. This one is almost ready now. I'll give that another 30 seconds and that'll be done. So I just wanted to remind everyone that the pricing of these heat presses, if you're interested, so these start at £990. They top out at £1,600 for an auto open press. So again, this is the one piece of equipment you really need for your business. And again, it's not going to cost you that much. For the 360 IQ, you're looking at £1,540. But if you're adding these products on, which kind of give you an average, increasing your profit margin by £10, or even £30 if you're a clothing brand and you're watching this, these presses will pay off themselves in probably that first month or even that first week. It's really, really worth investing in high quality machinery to make sure you can do an elevated product offering.
We have a couple of questions if you want to jump into those while we wait. So the first one is, can you stack high build on top of ultra color heat transfers?
The honest answer is I don't know. I think you probably could do, because ultra color is like, where high build's really thick and chunky, ultra color is very thin and feels like part of the garment. So you could definitely do it. The only caveat I would say is that we haven't wash tested doing it in that method. So if you are going to do it and have a play around with doing that kind of almost like a mixed media approach, make sure you test it first and wash it for yourself just to make sure that you're happy with it. Obviously leave 24, 48 hours before you do that wash test. But I see no reason why that would be an issue.
Brilliant. And we've also got one from Robert who wants to know if you're doing a 2 or 3 colour logo with High Build, how well does it cope with being pressed multiple times?
The High Build would be fine getting pressed multiple times. I mean, my advice would be, where possible, to have them on the same press. So if it was possible to, perhaps, depending on how you're building that logo, to put them on at the same time would be the most ideal way to do it. But if you can't, then absolutely you could go for a second press on it.
Brilliant. That's everything for now.
Okay, so this has now gone cold enough, and I can see it's ready to come off. So I'll give you a close up on this camera, and you can see I'm just going to peel that away, nice and easy. This is fused on perfectly. I've gone over the seam as well. So this is something that was never possible before till the 360 came along. You can never fuse a heat transfer over seams. It just wasn't possible. It wouldn't stay on there. But now you've got this. It's on there perfectly. Because I've used the tape, I managed to get perfect center alignment on it. There's no lift anywhere on this. This is going to stay on there for the lifetime of that hat. So again, 12p for the logo. Probably £3 for the hat. High quality Beachfield hat as well. So this feels really nice and sturdy. You created at retail, £35 hat. Perhaps if you're just selling it to, say, local clubs or something like maybe 15 to £20, but still very big margins that'll pay for that hat press very quickly.
Before we move on, should we also mention how you can press over seams with the 360? Because that press has a seam on it.
Yep, so this is really easy. It just doesn't matter. Now you can fuse any hat under there. It doesn't matter. It's not going to be restricted by any capabilities of the hat. The example I had earlier for you as well, bucket hat, again, no problem. I'll give you a close up here as well. You can see that's just gone in there, really nice and easy. So this one feels pretty cold now. Yeah. So remember, this is the brand new gold I'm using here today. So let me bring it up close to you. So again, you can see really nice, satisfying peel on that one. Just like that. You've gone over the seam, so no limitations on the hat. You put that really nice shiny gold finish onto it, really nice and chunky. Again, premium finish on a hat, and it costs 12p in material for that. So it's real no-brainer for that. So to recap today, we have covered why you should use High Build, because your customers want it. That's the most important thing. What do customers want? They want raised, High Build, 3D finishes with vinyl. We can supply that for you now. We've got the brand new gold and silver colors in that. It's only going to cost you about 12p per logo if you're doing small logos. Even if you're doing bigger prints, it's still not going to cost you a lot in material cost compared to the extra margin you can add to the price of your products. So again, seems like a real no-brainer to me. I showed you how to fuse. If you're using a heat press for doing t-shirts and hoodies, it's 5-second pre-press, 20-second main press at 155 degrees centigrade. Just make sure you've got accurate press that's going to give you time, temperature, and pressure readout. The most important things, as we always tell you here, the recipe is essential here. You have to let it peel cold, and I mean really cold. If you peel it warm, it's not going to fuse properly. So make sure you follow the recipes, and now you can put it onto t-shirts, hoodies, hats, anything, any type of fabric to take heat. It can go under a heat press. You can achieve it. So thank you to everyone that has asked questions today. If you have more questions, you're watching this back later, just send us a comment, get in touch with us, and we can cover all of this. But as I said, we will be having the hat press and the Bella Canvas product here on October 19th for afternoon and evening sessions events. So depending on what's more convenient for you, but places are starting to run out. We only have, I think, 5 places left for the afternoon session now. So if you're thinking about attending and haven't got your ticket, today is the day to register, because it's going to be something that will really set you up for 2023. And most importantly, you'll be able to see new colors and get hands-on and see these products for yourself before you need to actually put them into your product offering. So thank you very much for everyone that's attended, and we'll be back again very soon with another live event.